My man, can you hear me? I think your mic is muted. It says your mic is muted. There you go.
You got me now?
I can hear you, my good sir.
Oh man, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Things are good.
Good, good. I'm glad to see it, man. I'm glad to see it. So you got this podcast kicking off, huh?
Yeah. You are the official second guest. I had a guest yesterday, and it was a pretty good conversation. So when I get the time, I'll go back and listen to it.
Oh,
Try to learn from it, and go for it after that. Yeah.
nice, nice. Well, I'm like I said, man. I was humbled that you even thought of me to be a guest on the show. So
It's my privilege, man. It's my privilege.
yeah,
Anytime I've ever talked to you, it's always been in good spirits, and we've always had a good conversation. So,
that's true.
yeah, I was just like, well, since anytime we meet, whether it's in passing or when I come
Mhm,
to, do some business at the bank, it's always
mhm.
been good. So why not? Why the hell
I,
not?
I was I was just telling my wife that actually. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
so.
yeah. How's she
So
doing? She good?
she's good, man. She's, we're still out here in Connecticut doing our thing. She's wrapping up her PhD here in chemistry, So it's
Salute to her. Salute to her.
yeah. So she's working on that. She's on that, that grind right now. She's kind
Oh
of in
yeah.
that 11th hour, hard working. So, I actually had to kind of shoo her out of the office. I was like, hey babe, I gotta use the office for
Right. I got a little
yeah.
business to tend to.
Yeah. So, but no, man. I mean, things are good. Kind of live with the quiet life out here in Connecticut.
Okay.
It's a lot different than Chicago. Definitely a lot more different than living back in Chicago.
How so?
I got
How so?
well. I mean, I look at my backyard, man. I got woods. I got family of deer that live in the woods behind us. A couple years ago, we had some turkeys that were living there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's you drive down the road. There's a big property. It's got a bunch of ponds, and there's a big, huge family of geese that just
Mm.
live down there. Some days they decide to cross the road and block it. Some days they don't. It's
More of a
it's a little
rural living, huh?
yeah, it really is. But I have grown had to have a good, fond, and appreciated it a lot more than I did when I first moved here. So it's
It has a more
quaintness.
peaceful dynamic to it, huh?
Man, let me tell you. Born and raised in the city, love the city. Always have a piece of my heart. But there's something to be said about living out in the country, self-sustained, quiet. Just you and your family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you
So
hunt?
no, man, I haven't gotten into that or anything like that. I'm not opposed to it. I just I don't really I don't really know anybody who does it. I
Okay.
guess I never really said, hey, who wants to go hunting with me? I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm not really opposed to it. I guess I mean, to each their own, really. I mean, as long as you ain't whacking off some kind of endangered species, or something like that. I
Yeah.
guess
Want to
following the
avoid
rules.
that. You definitely want to avoid that part.
Yeah, follow the rules that are out there, I guess, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That's they got that stuff set up. So, but Connecticut's a little different. They got a lot of deer out here, man. So deer hunting's pretty big out here.
I
So
bet. I bet.
yeah, and then but they've been having a big problem on the western side of the state with black bears. So
Oh,
they've been
wow.
coming up in people's backyards and properties and rummaging through trash and stuff like that. So the state's got to like tag them and try to like they tag them and then they tranquilize them and they take them somewhere and dart them off somewhere and then if they keep coming back too many times, they'll actually euthanize them. So it's kind
Wow.
of yeah, it's
Wow.
pretty crazy because they just keep coming back to the same spots to get the food.
Yeah. Why
So
not?
yeah,
It's a feeding ground. Or hunt as a yeah,
they're
feeding ground
clever.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's clever.
Yeah.
So, but what
Not
about you, man?
domestication.
What's going on in Chicago?
It's
I
weird.
was just there, so I had a little vibe of it. But yeah, I mean,
It's weird, right?
it's
It's
yeah, it
weird.
was.
It's
Mm-hmm.
super fucking weird, man. So we live in this time during what they're calling COVID-19, and still working, still doing music, but the streets are so empty now because during this time of year, we're used to having a vibrant city and that city life from sun up to sundown where people come out and they enjoy it. There's festivals, there's beer fest, there's all these different things going on. And now you're looking around like just seeing people now, you're happy to see them when it used to be during the summer and it was thick outside filled with people. You would rather think, oh, I want to get home. I just want to be around my select group of people that I'm cool with. And now it's just like to see people, you kind of just smile and have an appreciation more for it, just because of the nature of the situation. Working is different, you know. You're used to having group clientele stay where you are, and now it's just guests who check in. Like it's so different, you know. You have to be mindful of sanitation, you know, being clean about your hands, your own health, and because my mom is older, you know, you definitely have to be careful about that, right? Because you don't want to you don't want to get her sick at any point in time. So I still love Chicago, but this is just weird, man. This is weird. I feel like I'm living The Walking Dead or something, you know. Like I'm walking around with my backpack. I got my water in my backpack. You know, I got fruit with me. It's just weird because that's what I normally do. You know, I'm trying to keep it a lean diet, but it's just so weird. It's just so weird. You know, it has its ups and downs.
You're right about that. I mean, I saw those ups and downs in that little time that I was there. I mean, we were out there. It's been almost 2 weeks now, but it was kind of when they had that last uprising up in the downtown area where there's some riots and stuff.
Yeah.
I had just gotten there that Friday beforehand, and I was staying with my pops, and we were staying on the south side over in Oaklawn area. And then that Sunday night, that a lot of that stuff started happening. We decided we were gonna go stay at my mom's house. She just happened to move at a new place that was right there by the Intercontinental Hotel. So I was like, it'd be cool. We'll go stay downtown. We did that. So me and my wife, and we walked around the city, and man, it was vibrant. There was all kinds of people out. We walked the Riverwalk, you know. It was Sunday evening. Everybody, and then a lot of the spots over there were still allowing some of like the bring your own liquor or get it from the spots on the river. So people were just kind of hanging out, picnicking, drinking. You know, everything was great, man.
Shooting the shit, having a good time.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then, you know, we go back up and we go back up to sleep, and boom, I wake up the next morning, man, and I'm like, she's like, hey, there were riots. What?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. I was like, wow. Because I was just talking about, I was like, man, this is the kind of thing that I feel that the city needs. I was like, look, everybody's out just releasing right now, letting all that positive energy out, you know, because that was the thing that I was telling her. I was like, it's been a while, I'm sure, since you've seen every neighborhood represented back in the loop again, you know, and that's what I was seeing, you know, when I was walking around through there, and I was really kind of vibing that. I was like, man, this is really cool. This is what Chicago's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then later that night, man, we found out about it. I was like, just, you know, it just shows you, it just takes a few, you know, to kind of mess up everything for a big thing, you know.
Very true. You would like to see things be different, but this is the nature of what we're dealing with. There's a bad representation of different people in different places, and this is the makings of it. This is how it manifests itself, you know.
You're not wrong on that. That's I have a lot of conversation with people on that kind of topic.
Yeah, I've had those conversations, and it's gotten to the point where certain people just feel like they've been violated, and it's like, well, just imagine being a person that gets shot just for doing what he's told. You know what I mean? Like, take that angle. You know what I mean? And certain people, they don't see that, and it's fine with me. Like, I'm not the person that's trying to win you over with my opinion or with facts, but the facts are the facts. So when people are in a situation where they are disenfranchised, they don't have much, they're going to at some point strike out, and it only takes a moment, you know. it's like a brush fire, right? All you need is a spark.
It's exactly what it is. I talk to a lot of people about that in terms of, what environments have produced, the kind of mentalities that are out there right now. You have to really think about that, because, you may not agree with that mentality, but you have to look at the root cause of what, this really is. Why is it that, a certain group of people feel a specific way about a specific thing? You make it so much about yourself because maybe that direct expression of how that group of people are expressing affects you, but you're not really looking at really the overall picture of what caused them to do that. And I think so many people get caught up in the me aspect that they really do kind of forget the brother aspect of it. Or the sister. I'm not as you know me, I'm not really a huge religious person, but there is one thing that I have to say that, that growing up inside of the church that I really kind of hold dear to me is, you are your brother's keeper. So, you should be able to, no matter who that is, be able to empathize, relate, and always give a hand up. You shouldn't have to be able to, not everybody's looking for handouts, but giving hand ups to everybody gives it a whole different situation, because what you're doing is you're empowering people to, uplift themselves. You give that confidence, you give that ability. It is kind of, again, I can go back to a religious thing, but it is, give a man a fish, he eats for the day, teach him the fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And so many of us kind of think about those lessons on that side. I'll just take a side note here. I got the.
You there? You cut out, buddy. All right, there we go. We are back.
All right.
I forgot where we left off.
I think we were just talking. I was just talking about
something about a side note.
Yeah. Basically, teaching a man to fish, is a lot better, that and trying to understand those principles, and trying to relate back to that, not everybody was always gifted the same environments, the same opportunities, same education as you were. Some people were always going to have it better than you. Some people are always going to have it worse than you.
Yeah.
I think so many of us just get caught up in the me aspect of, well, that don't match my point of view. That we kind of stop to think about, well, okay, why would they think that? Why does that person think that way?
That's the thing where we're lacking, right? As human beings, instead of being able to see the different angles and different points of view, we're so quick to just say, this is what I believe, and this is it. There is no other way to see it, We're so curious. This is one thing that fascinates me as a human race. We're so curious on so many aspects of wanting to understand where we're from, how things work, how we can build things, how we can do it better. But we don't ever want to curious to understand why we feel what we feel. Yeah.
We get so caught up, and that's a comfort for us. That curiosity in most people is not, there. And for me, I kind of think that, my wife, she's that way. She's a scientist, so she questions everything,
Absolutely.
and it's kind of one of the things it's one of the things I love about her, but it's one of the things that I do agree with, it's you gotta kind of
the why. Yeah.
There's a limit, you don't want to be jerks about it, but I think there's definitely of understanding, of why somebody feels and believes what they do is something that most people don't ever ask themselves.
Yeah. Because me watching the riots, it was like, oh, they're just, they're hoodlums, and I was not listening, but I was watching the things that people were posting, and then when I would catch them in outside, or if I would call them up and have a dialogue with them, is like, do you realize why it happened? Not what you saw, but the why to it. And we're missing that point
Yeah.
as just human beings, you know, people that live on this earth. Why is that happening? Like, you don't just necessarily wake up one day and just say, I'm gonna start riding. I'm gonna just start a riot today. I'm gonna go downtown, I'm gonna start a riot. I'm gonna start a riot on the south side, the east side, the north side, and the west side of Chicago. I'm just gonna start a riot for no apparent reason at all. It doesn't really work that way. There's usually, like I said, the brush fire effect, right? There's something that sparks that. All right. Now, the recent one where I think the young man was killed or whatever, and these people plan to come downtown and do that. It's a little bit different. I don't know the full specs to that situation, but from the outside looking in, it's like, come on now, y'all just bullshitting with that type of situation. But I don't know the full specs of it, so I kind of, when I saw it, and it was like, well, they planned on doing it, and I was just like, well, until I know better about that situation, I'll stay out of it. But the George Floyd, there's an understanding that, again, I told someone this the other day. If you go back and you look over the last, 7 years, you will see that the police have killed over 400 to 500 people, right? And in certain countries, that's more deaths than they have in a year. You know, it's into a certain part, it quadruples or whatever it does. You know, it's a sextuplet of what certain countries do, which is a heinous act in itself against mankind. And it's something that lets us know that there are things we're missing as people in America, where training has eluded people, or it hasn't been set up. You know, there isn't a system in place to make sure that accountability, right, is in place to make sure things like this doesn't happen. Are these guys being given psych classes? Instead of them being a cop in 6 months, how come they aren't being a cop within 2 to 3 years? If it takes someone 2 years to become a cosmetologist or get a degree in anything, it should be the same thing for them. It should be a prerequisite for them. So these are situations, man, it's sad to see. In my lifetime, I've seen it more than once, right? I've been a victim of police brutality myself. I've had a hand fractured, even though I was supposed to be boxing. I think the guy did it because he knew what was going on, and I was going to a boxing tournament, so he fractured my hand. I knew it when he told all of us to put our hands on the hood of the car. I already knew what it was. It wasn't that he was telling us because they wanted to check us. They wanted to pat us down. I knew what it was. We were all coming from the gym. They knew what we were doing. They saw the gloves that we had. We all had our gloves around our necks or on our shoulders. And it's something that has happened to many people that look like me, that are black or brown or Latino or whatever it is. So these are things, man, people take advantage of because they feel like it's easier to just bully you and get away with it than to go into a neighborhood where they're European, Irish, Polish, from Switzerland or wherever it is, and they know they could lose their job. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's sad to see, but these are the things that are happening, and it happens a lot, you know?
It's true. You are very true on that one. It's sad. You know, it's sad that kind of racism still exists, you know, even today, you know, on all sides of it. You know, I see, you know, I see it with, you know, I hate to say, you see it with some of your own family members, with me, you know, as having the Caucasian, you know, side of me, you know. I mean, it's pretty obvious that, you know, I don't think I have a blatant racism in my family of they look at somebody of a color that they're just like, I hate you right off the bat. But there is a level of ignorance that I would say that runs pretty deep. Yeah. And it's not that, and I think one of the things that's a little different about me than some of my family members is I was raised in more urban environments. I was raised around more people of color.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I kind of want to understand why people feel the way that they feel and why I feel the way that I feel. So I like to listen. I like to hear conversations and talk to people. And, you know, you know, when you hear the same stories and you hear the same things and you hear the same bullet points and many different conversations, you know that these things aren't things that are made up, or these things aren't, you know, by any means, someone who's just saying that to fit in or something like that. These are things that are really happening to people.
Yeah.
And, I think if it just, if you want my real opinion, if we
Of
can,
course.
we'll go real far with it is, I think there's two culprits in that mentality, in that gap of that real urban and rural. I think that's first thing is what you have is you have a massive mindset gap between a rural person who grew up in rural Iowa, whether they're a person of color or a person of or white. They're usually going to have a different mentality than they are of somebody who grew up in say inner city Chicago, grew up over in Roseland or grew up over in Pilsen or grew up in Little Village, anything like that, they're going to be a little bit more on the conservative side. They're going to be a little bit more onto the ignorant side, and not saying that negatively. It's just they haven't really been cultured and experienced a mass. They just haven't been exposed to a mass group of people like you are when you're inside of a city. Now, that's not to say that everything you get exposed to inside of a city is good either. Don't get me wrong.
No.
I mean, there were plenty of negatives that we can go down of what it's like being inside of a city. You and I both know what that's like. But that's not really what we're looking to talk about here. What we're looking to talk about is why you have a group of people inside of a city who are feeling an uprising, and why you have the rest of America telling that group of people, well, you're wrong. And I think the reason why you're having that is because of that mindset of rural America and urban America. They're two different worlds. Yeah. Everybody knows it. If you're from one area, the people who come from Iowa, guarantee you, if they took a drive and, they wanted to go down Garfield and go down towards, the High Park area, just that little down to Dan Ryan, guarantee you some of those sheltered white folks are going to be scared.
Oh, yeah.
They've never seen that many black people before riding around, it's not all pristine like they would be used to, or rural, urban, and it's going to give them a fear, right? And somebody who grew up there just knows it is what it is. It's part of the city, it's just another neighborhood, and you're just cruising on by, and there ain't going to be no problems. There ain't nobody going to be robbing you. Anybody going to rob you or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The dude, if anything, he may try to wash your windshield right quick,
The only time you're going to end up getting robbed is when you're looking for trouble, or you look like, exactly. There's a certain look to it. And they're like,
exactly.
I got this guy. You know what I mean? But for the most part, you will get left the hell alone. Like, no one really wants to bother you.
Nobody wants to bother you, man. So, and that's what I think that's the first thing that people get caught up on, is they get caught up on what the media feeds them and what these politicians feed them.
Yeah.
And that feeds that stereotypical gap of the mind state or the stereotypical mindset of a rural person versus an urban person.
Absolutely.
And then you have these politicians who prey on that to get the votes. And now you have
someone else. The other thing about it is, again, like you were saying, media, right? Mm-hmm. Portrayal of us in movies, the rap music doesn't necessarily help because they don't promote the socially conscious music that we do put out, right? The Talib Kweli's, the Mos Def's, Black Star, Outkast. They don't promote these guys that well. The Nas's, the KRS-Ones, they don't promote a lot of that good stuff. Common and all these different type of guys. They don't promote that stuff very well.
But you be getting Gucci out there.
Own music, and people are gonna just be drawn to, and it just fills space for now because it parties. People party, right? Have a good time, like everybody feels good. So that does play a tremendous part in what people see and their portrayal and perspective of how they see others. So I will hope one day that with this podcast and with the actions of people like yourself, myself, and others, we can begin to, but we would like to push and continue to turn the narrative to those who don't really know what it is, and they're curious about it. And then we can wake them up and get others to have a better understanding of what really goes on when they're not in the city, when they're not around Black people. But they're all welcome. Come to the hood. Come get some, come get a snack with us.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. I've been all the neighborhoods in all the city, man. That was one of the things I pride myself.
But you get a lot of people who will say, there are people that I've been working with since I've had a legal job There are people who won't come past 35th or 55th, man.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, they won't catch the red line past that point. And they'll only go to 35th because of the White Sox stadium is out this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and that's a sad situation, because it's basically saying, like, you don't know enough to come out south. But if you want to, someone can help you. Again, why or why not? All you have to do is ask. There's people around you every day that can get you out there.
Exactly.
You could come hang out with me and you enjoy yourself. You know, and I know you're gonna have a good time. So it's just that mentality and that living in a box, right? People everyone has been brought up in their own system. Sadly, those systems aren't correct. And I think we start breaking down those systems and breaking through them, so we can better understand people. Because that's the only way it's going to happen. I have no problem with anyone who has a religious belief.
No.
Your religion helps you out, helps you get through your life, fine, so be it. Whether you believe in Allah, Confucius, Christianity, whatever it is. It's not what I follow. But I understand if it helps you get through your day, your night, your weekend, whatever it is. I don't believe in it. I'm a guy that likes to read. I read books. I like to travel. I like to make music and things like that. But that's me. Those are the things that bring me peace and keep me centered. So feeling the way I feel doesn't say anything wrong about anybody.
No.
It's just my opinion. The way I live my life, my perspective, without infringing and hurting yours. You know what I mean?
It's the thing that I think is the most beautiful part about us as a human race. It's your own unique individuality.
Yes.
And if I can't, as one person, appreciate you for the things that you believe in and how you view things and how you go about, you know, in conducting yourself, you know, then I guess we ain't gonna have that vibe. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what makes us unique.
Exactly. But if I can appreciate it, if I can relate to it, if I can totally get to it, then we're gonna have that vibe. But for me, that's all good. You know what I'm saying? If we don't catch a vibe, that's cool, man. That's what you're on. That's what I'm on. You know, as long as your things aren't infringing on my rights and I'm not infringing on your rights. Absolutely. You know, I it's funny because I'll just go back to political stuff here. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I think both sides are very bad.
Trash.
It's funny because I'm technically registered on the far right, I guess, as a liberal, as a libertarian, you know. But, you know, one of the things is I don't match up with a lot of the Christianity views on some of those things. I think they get a little too conservative with it. But the thing that I think that the reason that appealed to that party to me the most was the fact of what you and I just talked about, was that, you know, their real belief is about having that own individuality, you know, inside of not just, you know, communications and relationships with each other, but also within the political atmosphere of our country as well, too.
Yeah.
And that, you know, we see too much of that. Now, we get a little crazy with the Rand Pauls and stuff out there. You know, this guy, I can't say that I back these guys by any means, but I do find some of those beliefs that they've had. And I don't know, man. I can't ever say that I voted on one side, the other side consistently. I've always just voted with what I wanted. I've changed my political party 2 or 3 times now. Thinking of changing it again here. Just kind of messed up. They all kind of just annoy me. Until I see some term limits, I don't really have a real big interest in seeing a change.
Because it's just a clown circus, you know what I mean? It's
just a
clown circus. Do you remember growing up in Chicago, whereas young men wearing the color pink or purple was considered to be gay? You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same thing with that as far as like opinions and beliefs to me. Like
it's so funny.
You tell me I can't wear a color says it speaks of my manhood. Like, how does that happen? It's a color. It's just a color.
And like I'm gonna tell you about as recent as about 10 years ago, maybe even less than that, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I went down to Texas to go see my sister, and I had some salmon colored shorts on and like a nice little baby blue button-up shirt.
Fly.
You know.
Yeah.
And my sister looked at me and she's like, "You came to Texas in pink shorts? These boys are gonna have a day with you." I was like, dang. It's like
that's
that
box, man. That's that box. Like, people really live in that box. And again, we got to get people to understand that it's a color. It's a color, or a person is just that color or whatever. It doesn't necessarily state who they are when you're looking at that. It's the action, right? Martin Luther King said what? Judged by the contents of the character, not the color of their skin. Like, how hard is it for people to just be like, hey, I don't know him, but until he shows me different, he's a good person.
You know, it's I'll tell you one of the first things that one of the things I did to my wife when we were dating. This kind of just shows you, because you know me, I've kind of, you know, I'll talk to anybody, you know, I mingle with anybody. Yeah, I just, so I don't know if you remember him or not, but he used to hang out right there at right across the street from the 7-Eleven Wacker and Wabash. His name was Willie. He used to hold up a sign that said, "Veteran, please help."
Okay.
Never represented himself as a homeless man ever. Has never ever done that. Has always held himself up as, even to this day when I was just out there, he's moved over now off of the DuSable bridge over there now. He chills up, post up over there now, still holding the same sign. But anyways, we go out, and he used to be a customer of mine when I worked at the bank. So so I was out walking around with my girlfriend at the time, now wife, you know, and we're just kind of hanging out. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm gonna come introduce you to my customer, you know. My wife was thinking I'm gonna come take her up to some, you know, guy in a suit or something like that. You know, no. I take her up to Willie, who's just chilling right there. He had a few drinks already that day, so he was feeling himself. He was in full mode. He was enjoying it, and I think to top it all off is when he kind of he had a prosthetic leg, so he pulled his leg up to the side, and he pulled a cell phone out, and he wanted to show me his new place that he had just got. And my wife just like lost it right there.
Did she laugh, or did she just?
Yeah, I could just see her like just trying to, like, not to bust out laughing. Like, did he just pull a cell phone on his leg?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But you know, that's who I am though. Like, you know, nobody. I use him as an example because I remember when he came into my branch, everybody was like, oh, this guy, I got to deal with him. Nobody wanted to deal with him. And I brought him over, and I was just nice, you know, and I just kind of helped him out. And, you know, it took me, no more than 15 minutes of my time to sit there and help another person out. And in that situation, I ended up getting a person that I actually really kind of liked, you know. So now when I walk around, I can go say, what's up to him? Hey, remember me, your old banker? And he'll sit there and he'll shoot the shit with me, you know, because every single time, you know, it's another person that I made a connection with. That even if it was for that moment in time in life, they had something to do with me, and I had something to do with them. And for me, those are the greatest things about what we should be enjoying as a human race. You know, I think we get too caught up in ourselves that we forget about we're really designed to service each other, and it actually gives us a greater satisfaction.
Indeed.
And servicing each other is not necessarily mean I'm waiting on you hand and foot. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. No. Service each other on a spiritual level, on a friendship level, on maybe a actual manual physical labor level. You know, it depends. It's all relative to what it is for each person that you interact with. Yeah. And absolutely. You know, that's just kind of my thoughts on how, you know, I feel that we could do better. You know, and I try to, you know, live by example. You know, I see our Facebook warriors and Instagram, you know, people, and hey man, more power to all you on that, you know.
Swing their swords, trying to cut down the enemies, and it's like, man, get that shit out of here, man. Like, no one wants it. And the only time I engage in that shit is when I just had enough of seeing it, you know. And it's like, dude, like, who gives a shit, dude? It's your opinion. No one really gives a fuck, man. Like, at the end of the day, the people that agree with you are going to comment, and the ones that don't comment don't agree. And the ones that don't agree and comment, it's just because they want to have a dialogue to get an understanding of where you're coming from. for me personally, like arguing with people on Facebook isn't really gonna do much of it.
No, ain't nobody ever changed their opinion.
Yeah, you can't do anything. Dude, I seen the Trump supporters and all that, and then one person said, "Why are you commenting, trying to get some understanding?" I said, "Because that's the only thing I want. If you would splash that across your page and say that you're a supporter of orange chicken for whatever reason, well, then let me get some understanding of that, either on this page or in dialogue away from everyone else. Like, talk to me. Tell me what it is that makes you believe that this dude is anything other than a what do you call it? A reality star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tell me something else, because I don't see it. But it is what it is, man. Recently, you were telling me there was something that you had going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Tell me about that.
So, well, I guess I'm trying to really reinvest into myself.
Okay.
We get into a little bit more on a business aspect of it here. I've always kind of just been a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. No real plan. Let's just kind of it'll work out, man.
Yeah.
It didn't always work out to be that way. So over the last, I'd say 6-7 years, I've kind of readjusted and figured out, how do I take these skill sets that I've learned, these things that I've done, and what is it that I've kind of consistently done? And one thing that I've consistently been able to do is to generate business for people, be able to connect people, be able to find a way to create revenue for a company in some form or another. And I've done that for a lot of different companies. And typically I've done that as a sales representative. So one of the things that I've done over the last 3 years is I was kind of coming to a head. As you knew, I was at the bank, and I moved here to Connecticut. I don't know, 2014 is when I moved to Connecticut. So 6 years ago now, and time flies. Yeah, man.
Nice.
And when we got here, I decided I was going to stay in the banking industry and just kind of further that along, become financial advisor, continue down that route. What they didn't tell me is if you want to become a financial advisor in today's climate, you either need to get signed up with somebody who's really going to work with you and they're going to pass a book of business down to you, or you need to know a whole lot of rich people. I didn't have either. So I came to a realization that probably was not going to really work the way I was really wanted it to. So I had a transitional period. So again, this is where I was very fortunate. I happened to have a family member who had a business that they had created. They were going, it wasn't doing anything really, but it was a business. They were trying to keep it alive, and it was in terms of making a glass cleaner. So my uncle had this company, this formulation. He had a couple small customers, and he was trying to basically figure out how to keep this glass cleaner company alive. So through a few months of conversations with him and talking with him, and I've known about it since he started the business, I decided that I would also decide to jump ship from doing what we did with that, and I would go over there and work with him to try to get this business up. And that in turn started a whole new venture inside of my entrepreneurial side of it. So at first we worked with, it was just me, him, and then we had found some investors in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and it had worked out. And we were working, we were selling, we were getting some accounts. And then we landed the big one. We landed Costco. What they don't tell you about some of these large customers is it takes a large investment to really get it going on those ones. And we really weren't in a position with our investors at that time to really make the Costco deal work in a way that would really better the company. So again, we were at another crossroads. How do we really make this happen? It's cost a lot of money to do promotions and advertisements and in-store promotions. We got it in there, we got it going, but there's a whole back end of it to keep it going. So this is another thing that we had to learn about. How do we, we generated the business, how do we keep the business? So that led us to another path of where we ended up having to sell off the business. And you can kind of see the two signs I have behind here.
Yes.
Still have the Spray X, which is the glass cleaner. That is now owned by the factory that we used to get the product made by.
Okay.
And what we did is this company, Strategic Brand Group, has been contracted out as a contractor company to be able to manage the sales and growth of that company still. And then I took an actual 9-to-5 position with this company for right now as their national sales manager. So I act as a liaison between these two companies to get and grow the business. And what we've done now is we've taken this product to a bunch of national industrial accounts. The biggest one I just got was Safe Light Auto Glass, actually. So they now are, yeah. So they have a little over about 100 warehouses across the country. We just shipped a little over a pallet to each of those locations and looking to kind of grow that relationship even more so. So
business is actually still.
So business is still going. So what in all of this will lead me to my venture that you had asked me about here. I know this is a long-winded answer.
No, go ahead. It's just bro, I got time.
So what this has done is well, you know, this is cool, Chris. You know, you've been able to, you've learned a lot of lessons. I was fortunate to have a good mentor in my uncle and kind of knowing how to do some of this stuff beforehand. So he's shown me some of the ropes, and I've learned how to get this business, and we've actually successfully gone out and done that now, right? Well, you know, I don't want to continue to work for somebody else forever. There is a level of wanting to get our own financial independence that if somebody were to say, Chris, we no longer need your services here today, I don't have to go, oh shit, I don't have money to go anywhere. You know, yeah. I don't want it to be that point, you know, or I don't want it to be like, oh crap, I have to dip into my savings and I have to do that. I already want to have a contingency plan that already kind of covers that on that true financial freedom side. So that got me thinking, what is it that would be the first steps to get there? Well, the first thing is to find something that's going to generate revenue that is invested into yourself. Well, my skill set is generating business. So that has led me to now, I just purchased my website. I only got a landing page on it right now. I'm in the middle of designing it, but I purchased chrishazlett.com.
Okay.
And what I'm going to promote and build myself up as is as a business development consultant. And what I'm looking to do here is to look with businesses who are maybe small startups, businesses who are looking for maybe temporary contractor services to be able to kind of help give jump starts on fresh ideas on how to either, you know, boost up current product lines in the marketplace or to help bring new product lines to a marketplace. You know, really kind of depends on what they're looking for and what the services that we can negotiate at that time. And we'll just build the resume out through that way. And, you know, really, I just kind of continue to go that's my next path. So I figure that's the best way for me to invest in myself and grow my business for myself. And for a long time, I had a problem trying to figure out what would be the right business for me. Okay. I was always raised in a house of, I come from a long line of men who've never done things the traditional way. I mean, my great-great-grandfather used to make his own laundry detergent and go selling it door to door.
Oh, wow.
My other great-great-grandfather was, he was kind of just a two-bit hustler, to be honest. I mean, you know, he just kind of town to town, con man, whatever it was. Yeah. You know, I mean, none of the men in my family were ever really typical, you know, 9-to-5ers or anything like that. My dad.
Understandable.
Grandfather was a bootlegger, you know, I mean.
So with the new job, with you choosing your own independence, I am guessing that you've been able to pull together a client list through SprayX and Strategic at some point.
Yeah. So the first thing is to do is you know, utilize the resources that you have available to you. So I meet a lot of businesses. I work with a lot of businesses. There are other opportunities within sales that my current employer can't provide that I can offer to current customers.
Okay.
That I can mend those relationships together and stuff. Okay. So some of the things that we look to do is like sourcing out products that maybe go along with what a glass cleaner would be, like maybe some towels or maybe some wipers or something like that. And what we do is we simply try to figure out a way to source and supply it to them in that situation. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is maybe somebody wants to get some kind of website marketing up or website up and running and get some kind of e-marketing campaign built with that. Well, we have a marketing side of the strategic brand group that we can do that with, and we can get a website up for you. We can get your social media up and running. We can put together an advertisement campaign, all according to kind of what you're looking for in terms of a dollar, what you want to invest into it. Do you want grassroots sales? We can put together emailers. We can do trade shows. Do you want to find a sales force? I mean, it really kind of depends on each person. That's really the beauty thing of what we do. We kind of fit it all. So we have companies that fit it all. I've got the strategic brand group, but then that handles the branding. We got the iSource X, which handles sourcing products and finding them. Maybe you want to find something in China. We have a way to do that. We've got products for like the shop and automotive, since we kind of deal with glass cleaners. So we have a company called iShopX. So we just kind of developed all these small things, and none of them are massive, huge revenue generators, but they're all the framework there available for us to go out, that as we continue to do what we do already in our 9 to 5, which is sell, meet these connections, we can then interject our businesses into that, and everybody understand what we're doing, not keeping secrets from current employers and stuff like that. They don't do these things, right? There's no issues with that. So as long as you're not taking away from the revenue of them, they're completely all right with that. That's how we've been able to find our own way and path to independence, with, being able to be kind of just, hustling. I mean,
are you enjoying the thrill of it, being able to put together your own business and the challenges that come with it?
I am, actually. I think I didn't think this is what I was going to do. Again, the unraveling of it is really what's kind of gotten exciting to me. If you would have told me that I would have been dealing with some of these large national retailers that I've dealt with, and some of these large national industrial accounts that I deal with, and I'm on a first name basis, I'd have told you no way. The type of sales that I've now learned and elevated myself to is a different level of sales. I came from selling shoes at Walmart at Montgomery Ward's. So I was 16 years old, 1997, hustling work shoes, just trying to figure out that, to now sitting in real corporate meetings, putting together real strategic business plans, and understanding a real sales strategy and how we can take a product to market, and them actually valuing my opinion. I don't got a college degree. I never spent a day in college. I went to a couple engineering classes and stuff like that. But everything I learned was all from people around me, the resources that were given to me, resources that I had available to me, and understanding that maybe I was more fortunate than others with certain things, so I better take advantage of it. So because of that, it's led me to this here, where I'm now almost 40 and figuring out what I want to do when I grow up. A lot of my friends, when I graduated, figured it out a lot sooner than I did. Hats off to them. Because it's not
salute to everybody that figured it out early on.
Hey, I'm not mad at them. I'm happy for them. I got much love for you. But one of the things that I try to do and keep a core to my principle is the team that has helped me get to where I'm at is the team that I will bleed for and die for, to make sure that I will always help get them to where they're at. Absolutely. So they've shown a real big commitment to me, and I make sure that I have that same commitment back. And as much as I've learned, as much as we all want to be like, I want to lift everybody up, bring everybody on board. We're going to get everybody on the bandwagon and get them making money. It don't work that way, man.
Nope.
It don't work that.
Can go, will go.
Exactly.
That's it.
And
there's nothing wrong with that. It just says that some of us are more prepared to elevate than others are. While some may stagger and fall off the bandwagon, others are like, hey, I can fix a tire. I can change hubcaps. I know about how to work under a hood of the car, whatever it may be. So there are those who will withstand the test of time and be able to keep up the race with you while others drop off. And to those that do drop off, because I have people that have dropped off, not mad at you. It's life. You just chosen a path that is best for you, and I wish you the best as well, because things will eventually work out for you, no matter if it's now, a week from now, or a year from now. You will, if you are striving for success, you will get to it. It's only a matter of time. It's always a matter of time for each one of us. to briefly go back on what you've said, I don't have a college degree.
Yeah.
I came out 10 years old learning how to, hustle and draw art and put things together and formulate things on my own, do pictures, mow grass, shovel snow, whatever it took for me to earn a couple of dollars. I was always with it, down to the point where I got to music and I was able to make money off of music. Whatever it took for me to make a living, I've always prided myself on being able to have some hustle and grind of my own, not just be able to work a 9 to 5, because to be honest, I don't think either me or you would like to be bogged down working for someone else for 50, 60 years and then retire and then not even be able to enjoy life. That's not the end game.
No. And and even the 9 to 5 that I have right now is not even like a normal 9 to 5. It's the pandemic hit and everybody's like, oh, I got to go learn how to work from home. And man, I've been working from home for almost 4 years now. So I had it,
really?
Yeah, it's for me, life is great. It took a while to get used to that. Everybody is, as we all know these days, working from home ain't as easy as what we like to make it out to be. It takes a little self-discipline, but once you kind of find that groove, the freedom that I have found in being able to work from home has been tremendous. I mean, I really don't feel like I have to wake up and do a daily grind or anything like that. Yeah, I got responsibilities and things I got to do, and there's certain time frames you got to make yourself available, and there's somewhat of a schedule that you got to follow, but it's not like a rigorous, wake up, get to the job, check in. Hey boss, how you doing today? Good to see you. I'm on my way.
This
nothing
deadline,
like that.
deadline, this meeting, that
No.
meeting.
If I gotta wake up and I gotta schedule a dentist appointment for that day and I gotta go there, I don't gotta be making my plans 2 weeks in ahead of time saying, hey, I can't come in until later on because I gotta do a dentist appointment or something like that.
Yeah.
I just simply change my schedule on my thing and I'm not available during those hours.
Okay.
I'm out. It's the same kind of freedom that you get almost as like an entrepreneur. But the thing is you've got to be able to put the work into doing that kind of stuff as well too. When things are demanding, you can't put them off. You can't procrastinate. And boy, let me tell you, when I talk about procrastinator, your boy right here.
I've had those moments, man. But the crazy part about it is once the productivity kicks in, and it gets going, it's a snowball effect. And you start going, I need to keep doing this right here. I need to stay in this lane. This is the lane for me.
Exactly. And that's exactly how it's
too. It's like working out.
It very much is like that. So once I found that groove, I loved it. And for me, I do a lot of traveling, or did a lot of traveling up until the pandemic kind of started happening here. 2020s, as we all know, it's been a whirlwind.
Bizarre world.
Yeah. But, I guess my highlight of 2020 was I got to go out to Phoenix in March. This is like one of my last trips I got to do before we got to had to cancel everything. I did get to go to see a spring training game with the White Sox. So I did get to fit in like one baseball game this year. So I was pretty happy about that.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know. I'm been following
on the subject of sports. During May, were you able to watch The Last Dance?
Let me tell you.
Like Mike?
Man. So, you about the same age as me, right?
Yeah.
You grew up, right? I graduated in 99. Now, I had a little different perspective. So, I grew up my first half of my childhood in the Chicagoland area, and then the second half of my later childhood and teenage years, I grew up in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
So the first year that my family had spent out in Phoenix was the year that the Bulls played the Phoenix Suns. And that was my first summer in Arizona. We had just moved out there.
Okay.
And so I grew up with all of that. So watching that Last Dance, man, brought back so many memories of my childhood because that was such like a huge transitional period of time, going from living in Chicago. We spent a little time down in Indiana, then going to Arizona, and then it brought back all these memories, but at the same time, I learned so much more about the Bulls dynasty that I grew up watching that I never really, I guess really comprehend it because I was so young and stuff like that. So getting to hear a lot of those backstories, the Krause stories, the Pippin stories, those were all pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
And it gave you a little bit different perspective on why things broke up the way they did and everything. But I think my biggest takeaway from it was I don't care what you say about Michael Jordan as a person, his work ethic is unmatched.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unmatched to anybody, and that is something that I think it's a compulsive, like unmatched. Like there's something a little off to make it that much of a.
he had a dad that was pushing that too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in that one part where he said, "This is the way that I played the game, and if you don't like it, you don't have to play it the way I play it." To me, it resonated, but there was something saying there that also said, "This is how I was showed to play the game. To beat out my brother. This is the stuff that I did to earn my father's respect and love the most. So if y'all not about this type of shit, if you ain't about this life, you ain't got to do it. Like, do it whatever way you want to. Whatever LeBron does, let him do what he do. But over here, it's killers over here, man."
That was his mentality, man. I mean, do you ever see that YouTube video, the Magic Johnson stories, and him talking about it's like a cartoon video. It's him talking about the Dream Team one time. It's talking about him and Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, a bunch of these guys. They were all sitting there during the original Dream Team, and they were playing cards. And he was talking about Michael Jordan Magic. I'll never forget watching this video. Magic Johnson sitting there talking. He's like, on the first night, we sitting there, we're hanging out. Michael's, playing, and it's coming up like 2:00 in the morning, and I'm beating Mike. Mike's like, I'm like, man, I'm about to go to bed. I can't do it. Mike stood up, leaned over me. It's like, you ain't going nowhere until I get my money back. So we played till like 4 a.m. He goes, but I still ended up beating him. Finally, Mike was like, all right, man, going to bed. He went to bed, woke up, hit an 8 a.m. tea time, golfed all day, came back, put up like 45. Later that night, we were back there again playing cards. I was up on him again. I was about to leave. Mike wasn't having it.
Of course not. That's that.
He said 3 nights in a row. He said we were up till 4 a.m. He's like, by the 4th night, Mike wanted to play cards. I was like, I can't do it anymore, Mike. He's like, I was in bed by 7:30.
Absolutely.
And Mike was up again that night, the same thing, playing cards, back up again, golfing, and then dropping however many on it.
You gotta get it back.
That's impressive to me. I mean, but the way he, that's a freak of nature. We can't all be like that, That
chosen few. It's a chosen few, man.
Yeah.
And when you look at people who say that they can do it, to me, I go, well, what are you waiting on?
Yeah, no, man.
That's a while ago. You know what I mean?
I think, who was it that I saw? You watch Shark Tank?
No.
You don't watch Shark Tank at all? So I think his name is Kevin Leary. They call him Mr. Wonderful or something like that. But he said something that just made me crack up laughing because I was actually one of these guys, and then I just kind of shook my head. It's like, if I hear one more 20-something-year-old tell me I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30, I'm going to shoot him. And I used to say the same thing to myself all the time. I'll be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. No problem.
That's a lot of hard work.
Look, y'all understand what it really takes to get that kind of cash and net worth. The moves you have to make and the strategies you have to do. Some people get it easier than others because they get some luck.
But it takes a lot of sleepless nights and hard grinding, like all night,
Yeah.
3 hours of the morning where you're supposed to be sleeping. Now you got to get up. And now you got to go to work or whatever it is that you have to do. Oh, you got to get the baby ready for daycare or whatever it is. Certain things you have to sacrifice to get to those levels. When I'm engaged with young men and women, whether I'm mentoring them or in passing when I'm talking to them, I tell them all the time, it takes a lot of hard work to achieve anything. You know, you can't just wake up one day and just say, I'm going to do this and then it be done. Because if that's the case, a lot of people would be millionaires. A lot of people would be billionaires. A lot of people will own these fabulous cars that they want, these fabulous homes that they want, but it doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of hard work, and it takes planning as well. And it's not to say that to any young kid or any young man or woman or whoever it is that may be listening can't do it. It's just that you have to work. There is a grind that comes with it. Me being able to do music with different people out here and getting the nod or getting the thumbs up, like not necessarily people saying, yo, you dope, but they give me the thumbs up just because they don't want to give me that that certain level. It takes a lot of writing. All right, it takes a lot of writing, being in the studio with different people at all times of night, and proving to not just myself but to them that I can do this. Like I can do what you can do, and to a certain degree, I can do it better than you can. It just didn't happen because of pure talent. Pure talent is just part of it. I remember when I was when I would do boxing, all right? And the sign on the wall said, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. That always stuck with me. It always stuck with me. So to anyone that's listening, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. You get a lot of guys who are talented and they go strictly off their talent and then they level off. They get right here instead of going higher. But there are people who are just hard workers that can get up there but may not reach the very top of the mountain, but they don't level off because they keep getting better just because they work harder than the guy that has talent. You know what I mean? And I've seen that people that was in the gym. I've seen it. I've even seen it in studio sessions where you get producers or engineers that say, "Write me a verse in 30 minutes," and some guys can't do it. You know what I mean? Hey, write me a verse in 20 minutes, and these guys can't do it and make it make sense when they're doing it, and they can't do it. And it's like, and I tell them, they say, "Well, what difference does that make?" I was like, "It makes a hell of a difference when someone is asking you that. That means that you're chiseling your craft. You're taking a pen and you have a craft that you're very serious about, and you know that at any moment you can do whatever is required of you when someone asks you to do it." And that's just a difference. There's a different level to reaching the level of a Michael Jordan, a Mike Tyson, a Michael Jackson. You know that, like, you have to be maniacal. You have to be psychotic about these type of things, and you have to really want it more than breathing at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're 100% correct on that.
Yeah. So when people say things to you or me about being a millionaire, oh, all right, but you got a lot of work to do. It's not that I don't believe you. It's just that you have a lot of work to do. And I'll be right here waiting to see it. Not that you can't do it, but I would like to see it manifest, because you got, since you put it out there, you have to manifest that. You know what I mean? And in the process, some people will quit, right?
Yeah.
No different from basketball or any other sport where people say that they want to do that as a kid, and by the time they get through high school, they realize they don't want to do it. Or they get to college, then they go, hey, only 1% of us make it, man. So I'm going to just go ahead and into the financial field, or I'm going to get into the real estate game, or I'm going to be a sports agent. You know, you within the works of that, the frameworks of that, you just find your niche. You find out what works for you. So there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's, as I was telling, so I got 3 siblings who are much younger than me, 21 years and older, or 21 years difference and more between them. So my youngest brother is now just graduated high school this year. So real happy for him. Sucks to be graduating 2020 right now, right? Because
man.
It's like, it ain't exactly like an ideal situation to be going out to. And unfortunately, he kind of was a lot like his older brother in terms of me. He didn't really like school. He didn't really get along with the homework and doing the work. And, you know, he just kind of like, again, this is where he was a procrastinator like I was. But he pulled it together at the end of the year, and he ended up graduating on time. And I asked him, I said, what are you going to do? Oh, no. He's a teenager, right? He's 18 years old. I was like, well, you know, have you thought about it? What do you want? What actually interests you, you know? Oh, I got a friend who likes construction. I said, well, do you do some construction? He's like, yeah, I've been doing, you know, some, you know, handyman work and stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, you ain't trying to go to college, right? He's like, no, I ain't smart enough for college. I'm like, you smart enough for college? He's like, no, stay. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I didn't go. It's all good. Then he calls me up here 2 days ago, after I had talked to him and told him, you know, it was like, just find something that works for you. You don't got to be, you know, a smart guy. You don't got to do business. You don't got to be, you know, dealing with people. You know, it ain't nothing wrong with fixing a car. There ain't nothing wrong with, you know, doing electrical to work. You know, I said, I know plenty of people who do tradesman stuff that have great careers, very fulfilling lives, and actually become pretty savvy businessmen later on in life as well, too. So don't think of where you start as where you end up at, you know. So then he hit me the other day. He's like, appreciate it, man. He's like, I signed at Moraine Valley, and I'm going to do the auto mechanics program over there. But that's all he kind of needed was just that little reassurance, I guess, you know, because I think he was kind of feeling like all his friends were going off to go do some kind of normal 4-year, well, they're going to attempt to do a 4-year university, you know, for some of the ones that left off. And so he wasn't really feeling like he could really, you know, in my opinion, like, you know, he had his next step either, you know, or he could do some of that stuff. So he felt a little lost. So, you know, I think, again, coming back to what we were saying, individuality, each person needs to, not only do they need to find it, but they also need to be groomed according to how they are as well, too. Yeah. You know, people listen differently. Yeah. You know, they don't all hear the same words the same way.
No, sir. No, sir.
And this is where I give a hats off to a lot of our educators that have really do a good job at that, because it's a difficult job at that position, man.
I was just telling someone that, man, like it's a job where they're splitting teaching and babysitting. Mm-hmm. You know, because they have to be able to get the curriculum across to the kids and make sure that they're able to, I guess, regurgitate it, be able to understand it. But then you have the other side of it when you have a classroom filled with 20 to 30 kids. You're going to have to babysit some of these kids, man. And that sucks because these classes should be smaller. There should be more rooms to them. They should be taking this money out of the prison pipeline and dumping it back into the schools like they should have been from the beginning. Also giving these teachers aides, you know what I mean? Like they need the help.
I had teachers aide growing up. I mean,
man, I didn't. It was like 30 of us in a classroom.
See, that was so funny. Is I did, and then I looked back at it and I was like, well, why did I? Well, probably because of the neighborhoods that I was able to live in, because because I hear.
Shit.
Because even when I went to school in Chicago, my mom never sent me to the public school. I always went to some kind of a private school or something like that. So we didn't go to the best of the private schools. It was still but we went to the private schools. But we had those kind of things and stuff like that, teachers' aides and stuff like that. So, again, this is where I'm very humbled. I always, growing up, I grew up very little to later lives of my growing up to having quite a bit, to having it ripped away from me and having some realizations and stuff like that, and realizing how privileged you really were. This is the thing that I'll tell you, and I'll just speak frank, this is one thing I tell you about white America that they have not dealt with, is the privilege aspect of it. Yeah. And until you get checked with your privilege, you don't know you have your privilege. And for me, I got checked with my privilege.
Okay.
In a reality. And once I finally got checked with it and realized that, I had a whole bunch of things that I laid out that I never took advantage of, that a lot of my other friends growing up with didn't have. And they reminded me of that. And that was some humbling experiences.
Yeah.
And that was probably, I'd say, probably my biggest eye-opening thing. But you know what? I took it in a manner of trying to better myself and understanding the lessons that, you know what, you're right, you weren't. So with that mentality, if I am given those opportunities, I've now tried to figure out how do I make those things work for me and try to pay it forward.
Okay.
Because I feel that's the only way, that, I can contribute to trying to help in leveling that off.
Have you ever done any community work?
No, I haven't. Out here, I haven't. I did do some stuff when I was back in Chicago and stuff like that. I'll be honest, I haven't really done a whole lot into stuff here in Connecticut. It's been a lot of work it's kind of selfish, but it's been a lot of just focus on me, myself, and I out here. But, you know, it's something that actually has been weighing on me a lot lately. Is one of the things is wherever we're Connecticut's not going to be our home. We may very well end up being back in Chicago, or if not Chicago, wherever our home is at. That's one of the things that I'm looking to get back ingrained with is the community itself. Like when I did, you know, live back in like the Pilsen neighborhood and stuff like that. You know, my uncle, he ran the Harrison's Boxing Club over there, the Harrison Park Club. So just to go over there and stuff like that, and go help out, and you know, go volunteer with the kids and stuff like that. And you know, I mean, I miss that. I grew up over in Cicero. We had the Boys and Girls Club across the street from over there. So you know, I always liked doing that kind of stuff, but I haven't really. No, as of lately, I have not been
involved.
As involved as I probably feel I should be. And I know that I should be feeling that way because I've been having a little bit of a guilt come on me, like, man, you need to start giving back more because you've been getting some blessings. And, you know, when I feel blessings are coming good, I feel I definitely have to pay it forward. So, you know, but there's also part of me, it's like, man, just let the blessings come. You will pay it forward. You know.
Let me get right first before I.
Yeah, so that's the internal battle that I deal with. You know,
have you and the wife sat around and thought about where you wanted to move next?
We have. I think for me for me, I can go anywhere as long as I got an internet connection and a computer. I can work. You know, for her, it's about really finding the right thing and what she wants to do. You know, she's really sought after this PhD in this chemistry. So, you know, what I'm really being fully supportive of is, you know, letting her find that journey that she wants to take with this degree. You know, she's got, obviously, you know, Chicago is where we would, you know, work is home to us. You know, our family is there. It's where we want to go back and maybe even get started in a family. So, you know, that has always been on the table. But, you know, really wherever.
From Chicago?
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, she grew up right there in Midway. So
okay.
Yeah.
Southwest.
Yep. So she's from the Midway area, and I grew up just north of that over there in Cicero. So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So when you were staying over there in Pilsen, did you ever go to what's the name of that place? Shit, I can't remember it. I'm gonna mess it up, and I don't even want Nueve Leon.
Nueve Leon. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's burnt down. It's no longer there no more. Yeah, I guess the family that owned that place now opened up a restaurant across the street, but they have another Nueva Leon over in Little Village. If you go over there.
Really?
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it's owned by the same family or if it's owned by like a brother of the family or something. But there's a Nueva Leon over there. The other one that I was just over there too, in Little Village over off of Kedzie and 26th. Go to it's called Mitera.
Oh, that place is awesome, man. Crazy. Yeah. I love that place. Yeah. It reminds me of From Dusk Till Dawn when you're riding up the street and the guy's like pink pussy, yellow pussy. Every time I'm telling you, cherry pussy. Like when you're coming to this, when you're getting up to that place, man, every time I see that, I start laughing, dude. But that place I love that place. Man.
Yeah, that place is really good.
Me and my big bro went there one time, man. And we just went one day, and he had never been. And the day we went, I think it was a Saturday, and they were doing karaoke. And the woman was going around. She was singing, I think she was singing La Bamba. Mm-hmm. And she's singing a song. And I was like, hey, she's coming over this way. I'm trying not to make eye contact. I'm telling her, like, hey, I think she's going to come over here, and she's going to try us. We had ordered sangria. We had a pitcher of sangria. We sitting there drinking. We're having food and everything. Next thing I know, she sauces up to the table, and she started singing the song, and she puts the mic in front of him. Man, he grabbed the mic from her, and he started singing that song, man. I had so much fun, man. I was like, I didn't know you knew the song. He's like, I didn't know I knew that shit either, man. But
that's so funny.
It was a good time because he had never. Yeah. I was like, man, this is a really dope place. You're not gonna believe it when you walk in. It's gonna be crazy. You know, it's gonna be a good time though. But, man, we went in there, bro, and we had a really good time. I tell people all the time, if you ever get the chance to go there, especially, it's a good place, man. It's a good.
Yeah,
I don't know how
nah.
it is now with this whole whack ass bizarro worlds COVID-19 going on, but
Like
before,
I said, I was just there. It was pretty good, man. I was pretty happy. This is where I am. Watching how this pandemic has affected business is one of the things that I find fascinating, and one of the things I love about our country. The uniqueness of how capitalism has managed to still find a way to survive with all these restrictions.
yeah,
Now they managed to talk the city into just closing down streets and opening up these places and surviving. And now they're talking about winter plans and stuff like that. That right there to me is like, okay, regulation isn't, in my whole opinion, an American thing. We're not really, but we're rebellious in nature. So that's just kind of who we are, you know.
and the other
But
thing for me is the fact that each individual or certain individuals have learned to find their niche, right? Like they found out what matters to them. They've learned to hone their craft or work on their craft in the process of this whole situation.
yeah, I
You
know.
yeah,
I know a lot of people in the service industry and like the food industry. They started those co-op kitchens and stuff like that, or you know, like that. That's like really taken hold. Like you know, like that whole. That was just kind of like a small concept for a while there. You know, that people were digging on them, and now those co-op kitchens are popping up everywhere right now.
The only thing I didn't like was that the food truck industry. You know, like I think that was something that could have benefited more people, but the way that they had it set up, where you couldn't be outside of a restaurant, and or they would call police on you, and you get a citation, like things like that. Like
Man,
it kind of took away from being able to enjoy the food trucks, I should say. You know, like, and food trucks are dope, man. I like them. Like,
man, you know what place has the best food truck scene?
who's that?
Los Angeles.
Really?
Man, you go get yourself some Southern barbecue, you go get yourself some sushi, you go get yourself some Hawaiian food, you can go get yourself some teriyaki. You name it, it comes on a food truck out there, man. It's amazing out there. And they embrace the food truck business out there, bro. It's crazy. Like, you'll have them lined up all around the city parks, man. Everybody just kind of hanging out there, eating up the food and stuff like that.
Shout out to my buddy, Lasan Brooks. I think he has a food truck out there in San Jose. I think he's out there.
Yeah.
What's up, Chef?
Yeah.
Success to you. He's trying to get his own thing going. I think at some point he wants to come back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Open up his own actual.
I don't know.
Here.
That Bay Area, I like that Bay Area up over there, man. San Jose, South Bay, that's a nice area over there. Yeah. Pricey.
I was trying to get to him during the process of me traveling last year, but it didn't work out in my favor, mainly because I had been on the job that I'm on for like a year. I've been there for like a year. I've been there 2 years now, so it may have been like a year. I think they had all the fires, the wildfires that was going on. So I was asking him, like, is it cool to be? He's like, oh man, I'm north of that. Like, he said, just come through, man. Just come through when you get the time. Just come through. But I never made my time, my way over to him to come and enjoy San Jose. But I still want to go, even if he's not there. I still want to go out there and enjoy the breeze, the weather, and just be amongst the people, you know.
It's I like California, man. It's a beautiful state. Just a little too pricey for me to want to live out there right this second, you know.
San Diego's crazy too on the price side.
San Diego's one of my favorite cities. But you know what place I think I would move to? I'm really been vibing on a lot lately is Nashville.
Nashville? Really?
Nashville.
I can't even remember who the person was, but they were telling me the same thing. It's like, man, if I leave Chicago, I'm going to Nashville. Bro.
Nashville's a fun city, man. I mean, them honky tonks ain't no joke. It's live music everywhere you go, man. And you know, as just as a musician, man, you just appreciate, you know, live music in general, you know. And coming from Chicago, where we have so many places, let me tell you, I've lived in multiple places across this country now. If you're born and raised in Chicago and you ain't never lived somewhere else outside of Chicago, you don't realize how fortunate you are with live music.
Yeah.
There are so many venues in that city.
Not just live music, but an actual city, having that city feel. Yeah. Yeah. Because when I did live down south, I was too young to appreciate it because I was so used to being from the city. But
Mm-hmm.
years later, I learned to appreciate the peacefulness of it. You know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
being able to speak to people and just get home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to walk outside in a yard and not hear nothing, but you can hear crickets and you can hear frogs and you can hear everything else. I enjoyed that, man. I enjoyed that.
I do thoroughly enjoy it. I think my wife and I, we've had many conversations, and I think, our ultimate goal here is when we're looking at our real estate, aspect of how we want to deal with that. We'll pick our spot. It'll probably be in a city that we pick our place to raise the family.
Okay.
But there will definitely be a priority to find a second house, even if it's a small cabin or something like that outside. And then when it comes time to retirement, it'll probably be reduced city to a condo and just have a nice retirement house somewhere out in the woods. I don't think either one of us could ever give up living in the city, and both of us have a heart for Chicago,
This city,
and
it's just something about it, man. As crazy as it is.
it is, man. And I even had a little dose of being able to live like right there in downtown for a little bit. I got to live in Marina City for a little while over there. So that was like a totally different vibe of living in the city itself. And I don't know, man. I could see myself as like a retiree just keeping a nice little condo in one of them nice little high rises somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And just coming back into the city. Hyde Park, I love Hyde Park a lot, man. I really do. I like those old high rise buildings down there and the old condos and stuff like that.
When you were here, did you get a chance to come over this way? Because I'm in Hyde Park.
No, I didn't get a chance to get down to that far. We pretty much where we got married at was we got married at the Aeon Center actually at the
Okay.
Mid American Club. We had
Okay.
a small little ceremony over there, and so we stayed right there at the Hyatt Regency. And my mom, like I said, she lives right over on the other side of the river. And then
I'm working right there. I was working.
yeah, man, I should have hit you up, bro. It was just a crazy wedding week, bro.
Right there, Chris. Right there.
Man, I'm sorry. I'll be back soon, man.
Oh, yeah,
So,
but over here in Hyde Park, they've put up some rather new buildings over the last 2 or 3 years, man. So
okay.
whenever you get over here, you're gonna be like, where the fuck did all this shit come from? It's a lot of new structures being built over there.
I'm glad to see that, man. I feel like the South Side has been neglected for far too long, man. And there's so much beauty down there, man. That there's so many, man. Like one of the neighborhoods, I think, and this is again, I grew up in Cicero area, but one neighborhood I think has been way underestimated in its architecture that gets slept on because of its reputation is Lawndale.
Lawndale, yeah.
Yeah, the West Lawndale there. The Greystones in West Lawndale, man. Oh, I love those areas over there, man.
It's a few neighborhoods like that, and I just wish like these not to badmouth nobody because I don't think I'm really gonna do that, but I just wish these entertainers, man, that come from this city would come back and establish businesses or buy up some of these places and redo them. You know what I mean? And bring back economic growth to these areas because it's needed. Like you said, these Greystone buildings, like what would be wrong with having a nice garden over there or some nice restaurants where people could just walk up to and be able to chow and just leave, man. Like, and maybe they have done it, maybe just the tax on the city because it's a mob town, you know what I mean? Like they do so many things to keep you out of things. So maybe it's that, but I don't know. But I would just like to see more of our entertainers and those who have the position and power to explore that notion, to come back and just say, hey, I'm gonna put a business over here or a business over here.
It's a tough time to do that, man.
The south side and the east side and the west side look so much better than what it is,
Chicago's a hard city to do that in, man. And even when you look at entertainers that are from like the suburbs and stuff like that, even they when they have tried to come back and open up businesses, I was just reading this, like Billy Corrigan, right? Okay. Smashing Pumpkins, right? He grew up in I think Highland Park or something like that, or somewhere, somewhere up in the Northridge there. But he tried to come back, and he tried to open up like I don't know, some fancy tea store, and tried to keep things going up in that neighborhood and stuff. And that only lasted like 6 years, and it was lost money every single year.
Wow.
So, and there was another one, somebody else, I think John Cusack had something up in Wilmette that they were talking about over there that, again, it was only open for like 5 or 6 years, and it tank fired down. All the restaurants that have opened up here by Chicago, like entertainers and stuff. And they were talking about like all these things. And the reason why a lot of this fails is because Chicago is a pay-to-play place.
That's what I'm saying. It's that model,
man. And if you don't pay to play with the right mentality and the right people in this city,
absolutely,
you'll quietly get brushed away.
Yeah.
And they'll do it in front of you with a smile.
Violation there, and they add up.
They do.
Yeah.
And it really turns a lot of people off from that. And it's people who are not from Chicago don't understand that mentality, can't understand it. We'll just change it. Why do you allow that to happen? You got to really, that's a long conversation that I don't think we're ready to get into right now.
No, not right now.
No.
Right.
But I think that's what keeps a lot of those people away from our great city like that. I think, and it's sad.
For a while, no one would do movies here because they were saying like that there's so many taxes and all this stuff that you have to go through, all this red tape just to get things done in Chicago. And over the last 10 years, you've seen those kind of just like move out the way, where you had doing movies, and then the Batman movies came here and stuff like that. But it's too much red tape, man. They need to cut that shit out. Like let people let people enjoy the city the way it should be enjoyed. Like
exactly.
Stop making it just about oh, I got to get paid and I got to get paid. And I understand like people do have to get paid, but make it where everyone can enjoy it, and then you can get whatever it is on the back end or whatever. But that's just me talking some shit, and I don't know nothing about it.
I'll tell you one thing that I give, and I'm gonna light up a little New York Chicago rivalry here on this one, and it's gonna actually be in favor of probably New York. Isn't that funny? So one thing I think that Chicago does wrong after living out here on the East Coast and living so close to New York City, they try to mimic New York City on a lot of these regulations and how to milk money out of the upper class. What Chicago does not have that New York has is a uber rich class of people that live there.
Absolutely.
Chicago has a rich class, but they don't have that uber rich class. Okay? That generational money that's been there for going back to, the start of the country kind of money. There's a lot of that's all up and down this area over in this area. And what New York is able to do is able to tax the hell out of those people. And those people, obviously, they get it back through giving, they find the opposite side they're doing charities and other ways, and that's how they get it back. But they collect a large tax on it, so much so that actually when people are leaving New York, like anybody who makes over $500K a year or more that moves a permanent resident out of New York, it's 100% chance they're going to get audited by the IRS. Just so New York can milk that final dollar out of them.
Get it all back, huh?
Just to get it out of all of them.
Wow.
But New York has a large enough population of those people and a large enough commerce to justify, okay, well, if they're leaving, we got more that we're making up right here.
Yeah.
Right? So they're creating them. Chicago ain't creating them like that.
No.
So you can't be trying to milk and take that uber rich money away from it. You've got to loosen up, like you were saying, some of these red tapes and stuff like that, which if you go to the extreme other side, the extreme leftists, they ain't going to like that. You know what I'm saying? Why are you giving these rich people tax breaks and stuff like that? Allowing business to come down.
Tax breaks, though.
Exactly. So, you get one side or the other that's kind of saying, that ain't fair. But in my opinion, I think you're right. I think if you loosen that up, yeah, you put more money into that 1%, but that 1% will at least get some more revenue and some more opportunities into this one. And if we educate the 99%, we can maybe get closer to where we're more closer to 100, and not such a big gap, I mean, that's just kind of how I view it,
I feel like you just loosen up a bit, man. Like let people come in here and enjoy the city and move all that bullshit out the side. That way people can speak more. Hey, they're doing this in Chicago. They're doing that in Chicago. The same way with Atlanta, right? People come down there, they enjoy it, they have a good time, they peace out. You know what I mean? Like let people enjoy the goddamn city, man. And on
Yeah.
another note of business, it's sad to see that they may be thinking of closing Navy Pier, or they are going to close it.
I know. Well, that's I think that's
They
part
just did
of
a lot of remodeling or rebuilding over there too, right?
they did, man. But you know what though? This is where I actually give Connecticut a lot of good. I give Connecticut a lot of praise. We got one of the lowest COVID rates, whatever it means down here right now over here. But what they didn't do was they never closed our beaches, they never closed our parks, and they
Hot enough
immediately.
to be at the beach out there in Connecticut.
Oh yeah, bro, it's been like 90s, man. It's been
Yeah.
crazy hot. I feel like South Florida this summer mostly, bro. Get nasty humidity. Yeah, it gets way worse humidity here than we get in Chicago. Oh yeah, because you get the trade winds that come right up the Atlantic coast right there, man. And it's just like,
Okay.
yeah,
I was unaware.
it doesn't get as cold. Does not get nearly. They don't know what cold is out here, but I will say.
Get like freezing, like that crazy.
I mean, they get cold, but like their polar vortex is like, -6. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm like -6. I'm like, that's like a normal, January day.
Yeah.
I'm like -26 maybe. It's like
It's -26, but
yeah. But no, it's Connecticut did a really good job with that, and they allowed the business to slowly reopen in ways that they've crippled some businesses, but they really did try to do their best to allow it to reopen while also being conscious of the safety guidelines and stuff like that. They really embraced into the heart of, all right, well, we can't stay locked down forever. We have to figure out how to live with this virus, and commerce still has to go on. And of course, we're still not in the final phase of opening up either here. They haven't done everything 100% great, but they've done a pretty good job, in my opinion, of trying to minimize that crippling of businesses closing and service industry. They spent a lot of state resources in making sure that like the unemployment was backed and stuff like that. So I was actually pretty impressed. For us, we had minimal effects in our day-to-day life with this COVID thing. What the biggest effect was our entertainment aspect.
Yeah.
Besides having to wear a mask and lines, but even lines here weren't that bad.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I would have thought it would have been, that those winters up there would have been tough, man.
They're brutal with the snow. A lot more snow out here.
The snow hasn't been much of shit for the
last year wasn't that bad. I'll never forget, man, the first year we moved here, man, I had like 5 feet of snow on my balcony at one point.
What?
Man. We got like 3 Mondays in a row. I got introduced to what they call nor'easters. So nor'easters are like lake effect. You just don't want to hear it, right? Once they say lake effect snow, you're like, oh hell, that's not good. You're about to get a few inches on the ground, right? They say nor'eastern, same thing. Oh hell, you're about to get a foot of snow on the ground, and a foot of snow ain't uncommon, bro. Like, bam, no problem. 18 inches. There's a Saturday morning for you. Go on with your day.
I know you got like the riding mobile where you get the snowblower or whatever.
I had to get rid of the Jettas, and I had to go 4-wheel drive truck. So I got myself a truck, and I got my wife a SUV.
Hell yeah.
Them little Volkswagens weren't cutting it out here in the snow, man.
I be slipping and sliding all around the place, man, with that shit.
And they don't get to the roads quick out here. So
you're rural for real.
Like, I mean, I've now been experienced to more rural areas than where I'm at. But yeah, in terms of where we're from in Chicago and stuff, yes, I am in rural. It is pretty. Like I could drive around, and we got little family farms around here, and you can just roll up to the farm, and they selling eggs or fresh baked apple pies or something like that.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Have you started your own like gardening?
Yeah, we got a little herb garden. My wife started that up this year, so we had like I think we did about 4 or 5 different herbs or something this year. So we've been getting a little bit more into the homesteading aspect of it now. So, but I mean, the farmers markets out here are awesome. It's just really kind of pricey because it's all
Really?
small stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all family, small family, organic. It's about as hipster as you can get.
Okay.
But my favorite time of the year is coming in out here though, fall. Yeah.
Up until they get right around November 15th, I'm over fall, man. Like
I tell you what, man, the foliage out here is unlike anything I've ever seen.
I'm
It's
sure it's
amazing.
beautiful.
I've become an avid outdoorsman out here. We go for lots of hikes. I want to get some paddle boards. I've got all the camping gear now to go hit the Appalachian Trail one time, so I want to go hit that up. So
Okay.
I've fully embraced living out in this area. I understand why LL Bean and REI exist and all those things now. So
how often have you been to like the Appalachian Mountains?
I mean, we kind of live in them. So I mean, we live in part of the hills of it, but you get up north up into the Berkshire areas over by it's a northwestern part of Connecticut and then the western side of Massachusetts. So we go up over there, and then we used to go up to Vermont a lot, up and over there. We had a friend who had a cabin over there, and we used to go to this little town. Oh man, Vermont is beautiful. It's a very gorgeous state. So we went up to Maine last year and did the Lobster Fest up over there in Rockland, Maine. So
how was that?
Yes, I had a lot of lobster. It was pretty cool. It rained. It rained. It was gray, and it was just kind of like your typical dreary New England port town.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's been fun out here. But I'm ready for our next venture. So wherever that goes, I'm ready for that. So yeah. But
How long does she have with school?
she's writing her thesis now, so when she's done, she's done.
Okay.
So maybe at the end of this year, maybe beginning of next year, middle, next summer at the latest. So she's kind of on that home stretch. She's kind of finalizing, getting it all written up right now. So it's a little different.
Or anything, is she?
Oh yeah, she's beyond frustrated.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, are you kidding me? She's at that overwhelmed part right now. So it's a lot. Yeah, she'll get through it though. She's superwoman, man. It's
Where's to make it that goddamn far, man? Like that's crazy. I commend her on doing it, man.
Bro, shit. Her drive and her determination is inspiring.
Yeah, and I'm sure she talks about shit that you have no idea what the hell is going on.
No,
I would enjoy that type of stuff.
Yeah, she does surpass me on that part of that, on the education level and stuff like that. So, but it's all right. I think that's one of the fun things that we bring to each other in our relationship is we come from such different backgrounds, but we found a way to really complement each other with our strengths and our weaknesses. It's I never would have thought I would actually found like that the one, it's as growing up in my 20s, I thought I'd have been a perpetual bachelor. So
I'd say this: it has its good side and its bad side. I mean, I think you've known me for a while,
Yeah.
There are some advantages, and there are things that you like. All right, this is old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a little luck happened to happen that way. She just happened to cross my path, and I just happened to say the right thing, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think sometimes a little bit of the universe helps in those situations as well. So
absolutely. You feel like you were ready?
Yeah. I mean, I can remember when I first started dating her. I was like, that's something different. We need to really just see what happens with this one.
Yeah.
And then I kind of kept that open mentality with it. And then she hit me with a move to Connecticut, and I was like,
what?
fuck it, why not? I've already lived everywhere else. I ain't never in the East Coast. Let's try it, right? And I still kind of like you, you know. So like, let's do it, right? And then we got out here, and that was a struggle. That tested the relationship, but it actually brought us a lot closer because we figured out how to work it. And then, you know, right before, like, right during, like, when my sister was sick and stuff like that, right before her passing, that's when I really knew with her. I was like, yeah, she's the one, you know. So yeah, that was
getting it out through those big times, man.
yeah. I mean, the way just how she handled herself through everything. She's there. She interacted. You know, everything in my life. You know, on wanting me to achieve my goals, and you know, as much as everything that I was like, okay, let's try to give yourself some more to them. Let's give yourself some more to her. And the more I put out to her, the more I would see that she put out back to me. So that was what kind of was like, all right, that let me feel comfortable enough to keep doing that. Till eventually got to the point to where everything was just out on the table with both of us. And then it was like, well, there ain't nothing left to do but to take that next step. So
I'm here, wrap it on up.
yeah. It only, as the officiant said, he's like, "When'd you guys meet?" I was like, "We met in 2011." He's like, "Sure you're not Russian?" But you know, we took our time, man. We wanted to make sure.
When it's time, it's time. You know.
That's exactly it.
You know better than anyone else will, right?
Yeah, and I tell you what, man. You know, I now understand what people talk about when they like look at their bride coming down. They get a little misty-eyed, stuff like that. Somebody who's
that.
Yeah, bro. Somebody who's actually had to like experience it, bro. Like, I can't. Now that I have experienced that feeling, you know how you get some of those manly experiences, you know, every now and then that you just get it. You can't ever hate on another man for it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I feel you. Been there.
Yeah, I would have just had liked to have seen it. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it for him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was good. That was a fun thing because of COVID. So we had to keep that all spaced out. Like I had everybody spaced out, like family members. You know, like my brothers and sisters were still sitting 6 feet apart from each other.
Crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing. You know, it's just a crazy time to even think about that. Like I have to be 6 feet away from someone.
Yeah.
Just for us to be able to enjoy ourselves or
Yep.
whatever. With where I work, they were doing events like that, where you know, if they were going to have an event, which they only had one, and everyone had to be 6 feet apart.
Oh,
it was crazy. Like just doing the setup for it. I was like, I'm doing banquets. This is not even my job, but we all came together as a team and we did it. And it's just like you sitting there and you're doing this to help. And it's like we're really doing this. 6 feet apart. Like, we're really doing this right. Like every room has to be done up a certain. It's like it was crazy, man.
Yeah,
crazy. It was crazy to even do that. Because I sat back after I got back to my office and I was like, I really sat tables 6 feet apart, purposefully. You know, it's just a weird time, bro.
Yeah, it is. It ain't. I can't. I'm really interested to see how history's going to look back at this time frame.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like in the next 2 to 5 years, like how are they going to document this year? You know what I mean? And everything that came with it. Cause
like, is this just like, okay, like 2020 was just like the head and things are going to start getting better? Or is this like, hey man, we're going to look back at 2020 and be like, hey, that was a great year. You know? Like, that's what I'm concerned about. Like, where are we going with this? You know, because
I hope this is.
I'm hoping this is the peak
and not descending, man.
I hope it's the peak, man.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God.
So
I would hate for it to be that way because I'm really hoping that I get to go back to enjoying movies, man. Like I really want to go back to going to the show. There's a movie Tenet that's coming out soon that I'm very interested in going to see. I don't know about anything else, but that movie specifically is a movie that I had my eyes set on. And when this happened, they slowed it down. But now that they're saying they're gonna open it back up in theaters in September, I think
Oh, that'd be nice.
It's a movie that I really want to see, man. But you never know who you're gonna be in the theater with.
I know, man. It's like out here, we got into it last year. We got into fair season last year.
Okay.
You know about county fairs, bro?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I didn't know about county fairs. Woo! The food. That's all we did last year. We went to like 7 or 8 of them during the fall season,
Wow.
and they all canceled this year. And there was like so many things. Like I had weekends planned, man. Like, okay, I'm gonna go and get this and get this and get this, and we got this food ready to go. Everything from caramel corns to fresh made donuts to these apple cider donuts.
All gone.
All gone. All
All
gone. Oh, it ain't. Cookies in a bucket.
Cookies in a bucket.
Cookies in a bucket, bro.
What?
I'm saying you name it, all the bad stuff. It's like it's the total like just get you cushioned up for winter kind of mode. You know what I'm saying? Like so that's
I mean, like it's just a bucket of cookies. Like, is it a variety?
Yeah, like a bucket of chocolate chip cookies. Just
Okay.
flat out, yeah. They got the steamed cheeseburgers, so it's a burger, but they steam it instead of grilling it or anything like that. And then they take a big pile of steamed cheese that's all melted and gooey, and then they just melt them together, and it's fucking delicious.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe I might have to take a trip up there, man.
Connecticut's the home of the hamburger.
Yeah?
Yeah. And they treat hamburgers like the way we treat hot dogs. No ketchup.
No ketchup?
No ketchup. I went to put ketchup on the hamburger, and I would have thought I was trying to put ketchup on a hot dog. They yelled at me so quick.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, "What? No."
Do they have beer breweries there for you?
Oh yeah, they got a lot of breweries and stuff like that out here. Oh, yeah. So they try to tell you that they got the best pizza here in Connecticut, but they don't know. They don't know.
Good luck with that.
Hey, they got some good pizza out here. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not cardboard and plastic like I've had in other places across the country, but it ain't Chicago pizza, man.
Yeah, and let's not. We have to say it doesn't have to be deep dish to be a.
That's all I'm saying, bro. Can I get a home run in thin crust?
Yeah. Hey, I'm a big fan of Italian Fiesta. As greasy as that pizza is, I love that fucking pizza.
Go to Falco's, 55th and Archer.
Oh.
No, it's not 50. No, it's 55th and where is it? Falco's 40 something in Archer is what it was. Oh, Falco's is fun. Falco's is awesome.
I haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of good food, man.
I miss the Chicago food, bro. I do. Matter of fact, when I was there, we stocked up. I picked up a bunch of Vienna beefs and some of the Supremo Chihuahua cheese because we can't find the Chihuahua cheese out here.
Really?
Nah, bro. It's not a large Mexican population here in Connecticut. A lot of islanders, a lot of Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. So Mexican food selection is not nearly what we have back in Chicago. So like when we went to go find like our chorizo and some of the other things that we wanted, it was kind of difficult.
Do they have good Dominican joints there?
Oh yeah, man. They got some great spots, bro. Some great Jamaican places as well too. So they got some good dance hall locations to go to. I mean, some Puerto Rican food everywhere out here, bro. It's. I mean, like on that aspect of it, there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good jerk chicken spots, So one spot they got over here in the town over, it's called Jamaican Me Crazy. They got real good jerk chicken. Yeah. So, no, man, that's they got a lot of that stuff. Like, they can take you over to the south end of Hartford. That's where you'll find a lot of that stuff. So Hartford's it's like two neighborhoods. It's like the size of like two neighborhoods, maybe three neighborhoods in Chicago, but it's actually about 8 or 9 different neighborhoods itself in the city. So
gotcha.
It's a small city, but it's pretty cool. I mean, but they don't. They think they're bigger than they are. The little city.
I can see that.
Yeah, but it's a cool place. I like Hartford.
Yeah, where they from? Yeah.
Yeah, but they got a cool little park. The Capitol building's like the oldest Capitol building in the country. So history-wise, it's been really cool living here in New England. I will say that. Learn a lot about the country.
Okay. Good,
So,
good. At least you're getting out and enjoying it.
trying to, man. We're trying to get out there and take advantage of wherever I'm at. So,
Yeah.
but no, man, that's pretty much the life of Chris Hazlett, man. That's just been, we just out here living our own simple life here in Connecticut. Storrs, Connecticut, basketball capital of the country. They like to say, UConn. All day, man. I have to see one more Ray Allen reference out here.
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
So
he did what he was supposed to do while he was on the court, and he had a pretty good basketball career in the NBA.
Hey, he did, man.
Let's not diminish his accomplishments.
No.
But, I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
And there's this guy, they call him the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Yeah, man. So.
Hey, I'm gonna go back to sports though real fast. I don't know what side. I'm pretty sure you're probably a Sox fan, but maybe you're not.
I am.
All right, so I started this one up with my boys the other day and got them on the controversy and leave this for a little food for thought. 2005 Chicago White Sox, greatest Chicago championship team of all time. You have an 11-1. You have an 11-1 playoff with a World Series sweep. 11-1 and a World Series sweep.
Okay, but how many World Series championship teams?
I'm just saying that one single team, just that 1 year, just the one team, the one year, the single team.
I can give that to you because there's only how many are there?
That's what I'm saying though. Like whatever championships in Chicago, you taking the Hawks championships, all the Bulls championships,
all of Chicago,
all of Chicago.
Oh man, please.
What Chicago team had a better playoff run that ended with a championship? Not even the Bulls had that good of a record, bro.
No, they didn't. Not as far as
not in the
playoff.
Not even when they went 72-10 did they have that good of a playoff record.
They had some series where they, 4-2, 4-3, but I still, man, like to be 6 times though.
Hey, that's a dynasty, and that I give the Bulls. That's totally different stuff. I'm talking about
just 1 year,
just this one single year. That team of a Chicago teams of all the championships, because you got all the championships added up. That championship team, in my opinion, was the greatest single team and single championship in Chicago history.
Was it them or was it the Bears then?
I think it was better than Now the Bears is interesting because they had such a dominant season, and this is where I've had my other boys were talking about that, and they were believing that the Bears '85 Bears was a better team. But my argument is they didn't have to play as many playoff games as what the White Sox had to do. So you actually had to go 11-1, and then you also had to play a series, and you win a sweep in that series. So if you compare it to baseball in that terms and football to football, that's a harder thing to do in baseball than just going through and winning out in the playoffs in football, because that's what you have to do. You have to win out in the playoffs.
That's not their setup, though. I don't know. That's kind of hard to decide.
That's why it's tough. That's why it's a debatable one.
When you think about it like that, you're talking about 11-1 through playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
Football is just one and done, right?
It's just one. Yeah, it's just one and done.
Even if we went if I said the Blackhawks, it still isn't the same.
No, because now Blackhawks, and you could compare because you're talking they had to play a series.
But they still lost games, though.
But they still lost games, and they never had as dominant playoff run as the White Sox had.
They just more. It was 3 and 5 years.
They had 3 and 5 years, which is probably that's the second greatest dynasty in Chicago, next to the Bulls. Is the Hawks? I give them that. Yeah, because there was only 2 leeways. So.
I would agree with the Sox. I don't know, man. Maybe I would.
I don't know, man. I've been talking to all my boys about it, man, and getting all their opinions on it. So I've had some people agree with me, and some people adamantly say no.
Now my wheels are going. It's like, Man, I don't know, man. That's very hard to.
I'm also partial because that was my favorite championship of all of Chicago sports too. Was watching the White Sox win the World Series. That
I
one
don't
hit.
want to diminish like the accomplishments of all the other sports teams too.
True. No, don't get me wrong. I grew up as the '90s Bulls kid, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so believe me, I believe you. And I even went and saw Michael Jordan play baseball. Okay.
geez,
I
10 season was bananas.
Crazy, man.
Because they weren't even trying to do it until they looked up. And he was like, oh, we could win. And what do you say, Scotty says? I mean, we could win all these games.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
No, it is crazy, man. No, in terms of the dynasty, that's one of the greatest sports dynasties ever. I mean, I put them up against the Bill Russell Celtics any day of the week, man. So,
Which Celtics? There's a Russell era, then there's a Bird era.
Yeah, there's a Bird era too.
Yeah, man.
This is where some would argue, man, had Jordan not taken his hiatus, the Bulls would have just had 8 in a row. I mean, really, who would have beat them in those 2 years? I mean, and this is always, it's all theoretical.
Lost one. I think they
what could have, but do you really think that Houston would have still made it both times? And if they did make it both times, Houston would have taken them out in the championship. They would have had to get taken out in the Eastern Conference. They would, because they would have ran through Houston.
I don't know, man. The Dream,
bro.
Team Olajuwon, bro. I know we still got Mike over here, but you think Akeem is just gonna be like, I'm gonna lay down and just take that?
No, I just don't. But maybe it's a tough one.
Yeah.
But some would argue that.
Maybe 8 for 8, maybe 7 for 7. I just think that Mike taking that year off gave him enough energy to be rejuvenated. You know what I mean, and come back.
Yeah. Who's to say what they just?
He would have gassed out. I think he would have gassed out. And in no form do I want to say Mike couldn't do it, because he can hit levels that can't no. There's another gear to the car that he can hit that can't nobody else hit. So
yeah,
I'm sure he would have figured out something with that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. My only thing about that is, in the course of one of those championships, the general manager wasn't the best. So would you have actually drafted players to back up you get what I'm saying? And make sure that you had the correct role players around those guys to make sure that they just didn't wear themselves out and just be done with them. Like, I would have liked to see them put guys in the mix to make sure that dynasty kept rolling for a while. And we according to Last Dance, this was a dude that was shitty at his job, the way they made it seem,
Yeah, I think they did. They didn't film Krause. They didn't portray Krause, I think, in the best way. I think Krause, well, in my opinion, Krause wasn't by any means a saint, but I think there was a little bit of a biasism on that, because this was Jordan's boy who was putting this together. So Jordan had his own perspective on that relationship, and I think that heavily weighed in the production of this. Nor do I don't think Krause. I think he had a little man complex. I think he did some things that were shitty to the players and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't think it was. I think for every shitty thing that he did, Jordan, Pippen, and those guys were right there doing all those shitty stuff. They just happened to omit all that stuff out of it. And that it wasn't just a quick Krause was just trying to pick on me kind of a thing. It was, yeah, sure, Krause probably said something, but you know what? You're not the type of guy to just lay down and take it either. So you're going to say something right back.
Contributed.
And what's he going to do? He ain't going to do it. And then next thing you know, when you got two bulls that are butting, they're just going to keep butting. And that's going to be fire. And it even overflowed into where the Zen Master was even that way. Okay? That even Phil Jackson.
What if Krause was a complete asshole?
I'm sure he was. I'm sure at the end he was a complete jerk. But I think where he could have done better, that he failed completely, that he should have done, because he was the senior management, is he should have figured out how to just keep his personal feelings to the side and keep business as usual. This is where Krause completely failed and lost control of that situation.
Absolutely.
This is where he was.
No matter how many championships you win, you guys aren't coming back. To me, that's a statement that says, "Oh, I already have it in my mind that I don't need you guys to succeed."
Exactly.
Fucking lie. We all know that.
Exactly. He didn't know how to work with the talent that he had at that time, and that's what was his own shortfalling from that.
Yeah.
But I think he got to that point because of the way what we were talking about earlier. The two people's vibes, they just didn't seem to vibe with each other. The way Krause acted and the way Jordan acted, they just didn't mesh with each other in any ways, and they always rubbed each other the wrong way. Absolutely. And there was never a median in there to split it up and let's try to. And if there was, it just got ground down so far that it was eventually completely gone away.
I feel like that should have been Reinsdorf's job to step in. Like, all right, look,
Reinsdorf, that guy.
Are we winning championships, or are we just fucking around and talking shit to each other? Because I'm like, look, you guys win. This shit.
He's a slimy billionaire, man. Reinsdorf. I mean,
that's crazy. You're the greatest player in the world. 2 of the top 50 players in the world. You had the top rebounder on your team, man. You couldn't figure out how to keep that together and then build pieces around them like every other team that's been a dynasty does. They put in pieces, man. They just drop in pieces.
Yep.
Wow.
I agree. So, man, it's been real, bro. I've enjoyed this.
Oh, shit. It's 9:04. What time did we start? 7?
Yeah.
That's 2 hours, my guy.
Yeah, man.
You wanna quit it right here?
Yeah, I'm gonna quit it right here on you, man. It's already 10 o'clock my time.
Okay, cool.
But I thoroughly enjoyed this, bro.
Absolutely. I appreciate you being a guest and agreeing with me, man. I thank you for that.
It's my honor again, man. I'm looking forward to hearing when you got them launched off, man.
Yes, indeed. It'll take a while. I want to make sure I got enough going on, before I throwing them out there on the web forever,
For real. No, I get you on that. Definitely understand that. So are you gonna be putting together the video as well too with it, or just the podcasting, or?
I'll probably just drop it as a podcast and then like do like small segments leading up to the actual one, like a prequel of the actual episode, and then I'll drop it like maybe a minute video, like those Instagram videos or 2-minute video on YouTube or something like that. Spotify, I don't know. Drop the actual podcast or video, and then let people to view it. Nice. Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope I hope I gave you some content today.
Yeah, man. Me too.
So, all right, man.
Anything you want to plug real quick before we
yeah, man. I just tell you, man, I'm not looking to promote anything else but myself, which is Chris Hazlett, and promote other people to find themselves as well too. That's really my bigger thing, man.
Absolutely.
I think for me, things will come. My name will build a reputation as I continue to invest into that. I think I wanna see other people take those same kind of things and start investing into themselves. And I kind of, when I get excited when I hear friends, doing stuff like podcasts and things that are outside the box, and everybody's just making moves for themselves, man. So that's, to me, that's thoroughly enjoying to see. So.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much, man.
Love, man.
All right, man. Take care, bro.
All right, you too.
Peace.